you like what you see, please like, comment, and subscribe. And support me on Patreon. Hello and welcome to Brickoff. And no, I'm not singing the Spongebob theme song. What I am doing is looking at the complete snap and switch sets of Spongebob SquarePants. I was planning to do this sooner, but I realized I only had 5 sets of the 6. I figured it would be easy, just go to Find Below, pick up Patrick, and that's it. The only problem? They never restocked him. Even now, when my Five Below is restocking their brick selection, there's still no Patrick bus. Not even the Well Played Toy website has them. And then trying to find it on eBay was a nightmare. The only sellers I can find were either already sold out or selling it with other stuff for $100. I was lucky enough to find one selling it for $20, which is 4 times the amount I would have paid at Five Below. So I do hope you all appreciate what I did to have all these sets in one place. So let's start the review, starting off with the one who lives in the pineapple under the sea. Now that I finished the build and fixed the mistake I made, the first of the 6 sets are complete. It's a small pineapple house, but it does look pretty good from the front. In the back, it leaves a lot to be desired, but considering how many pieces there were, it's understandable why they focus on the front only. An annoying thing about this build, and I will presume with all future well-played sets, is that they give you stickers, but no official way to place them. At best, you can try to copy the box, but I would rather ignore the stickers than try to add them myself. And now for the most interesting part of this, the minifigure. To one side is the minifigure that came with this set. On the other, the Mega version. Outside color and facial looks is the same design. According to my brick opinion on YouTube, Mega didn't have the trademarks on their Spongebob minifigures. So that means well played and anyone can make these without issue, as long as they have the license. Back to the build, it is a pretty clever way to use the hinge pieces to give the outside a pineapple shape, and for $5, I think it's pretty good. But now we head to the next set with SpongeBob's neighbor. Like SpongeBob's house, most of the buildings is focused on the front, while the back is more barren. For what it's worth, especially without stickers, it looks good. The one thing I notice now that is a problem with SpongeBob's house is the door is way too small for these buildings. So at best, they're good for filling up a background, but not for direct play. As for the minifigure, it's basically Mega's version again, so I won't show the difference unless they're different. Still, it's a pretty good looking minifigure, and captures Squidward's look. Again, something that's definitely good for $5, but with SpongeBob and Squidward out of the way, we need a place for them to work now. Spongebob and Squidward's house looks good but small, the Krusty Krab just feels way too out of place in comparison. Even with knowledge that there's nothing in the back, this is too small for its width. Like, I would expect this to be half the size of what a set like this would be. This is one where they needed to make it wider, not taller. Another complaint? The sign. Because it's connected by a technique like pins, it spins way too easily. This should have been a stud connection to keep it stationary. Now for the minifigures. Mr. Krabs look like Mr. Krabs, though angry looking, and Plankton got details that not even the LEGO version has. Speaking of Plankton, let's meet the Chum Bucket next. The Chum Bucket definitely is as small as the other sets, but if you had a few more, I could see it being a pretty decent build. I honestly love how they made the hand to replicate the one that's holding the bucket in the show. And if you ignore the antenna, this is the only set where the doors can be really used by the characters in the set. But with that comes one of the big negatives about this. You're getting another Plankton. So if you want both the Chum Bucket and Krusty Krab, you'll be forced to get two of the same Planktons. On a positive note, this set also includes Karen, who as far as I know was never in a Mega Bloks set. Shame that they still require a sticker for the monitor when the other characters got prints. You know who could possibly fix this? Another scientist. So let's get Sandy and her rocket ship next. While I knew not to expect them to do Sandy's house, the rocket ship does seem pretty weird looking. The place where the windows would be don't seem to be positioned right despite following the instructions. Still, it's an alright ship for something so cheap. But you know what's the really interesting part about this set? The Sandy minifigure. This is the Sandy minifigure made by Well Played Toys. You would expect them to use the Mega Bloks molds like they did with the other Spongebob characters, but they didn't. While the head definitely is the same mold, the body is their version of the human minifigures. So it's pretty close to how LEGO does it, but legally distinct enough to avoid lawsuits. Normally this is where the review ends because how can you top the different minifigures? But it isn't. That's because this final set is the most difficult to find. The Bikini Bottom Bus Stop. I visited multiple Five Below stores and never saw this set once. The Well Played website has them out of stock, but I can purchase other sets. And I had to pay $20 to get this off eBay. That would lead me to believe one of two possible outcomes. Patrick is so popular they get sold out quickly, or Well Played Toys believe these should be sold for more than $5. So let's get to the final build and see if it was worth the price. The answer is no. For starters, the bus is way too small. Even if there was an easy way to put the figures into the bus, there's not enough room for them. Speaking of easy ways to access the inside, there is none. If you made a mistake, as you see with the pieces I missed, or if a piece keeps constantly falling off while you try to connect it, you have to pry it open and fix it that way. As for the Patrick minifigure, it's the same mold as the Mega Bloks again, so pretty much the same thing you're gonna get. Overall, the well-played toy lines of Spongebob SquarePants is a mixed bag. If you want the minifigures, they're alright if you like Mega Bloks. If you're hoping for some worthy builds, you won't really find them here, especially with their high reliance on stickers with no instructions on how to put them on properly. But if you want something cheap, and if you can find them on Five Below, I would say go for it. Just don't expect to get anything major from it.